Hi guys. Tonight we're going to be discussing sentence forms, the basic sentence forms for English grammar. For this set of notes, I encourage you to make a keynote presentation. I will have some specific instructions midway through the video, and you need to set up your slides for our in-class discussion of this material. So go ahead and get your keynote ready and begin or stop the video whenever you're ready. We're going to be discussing 7 basic sentence forms. Last quarter, we reviewed the parts of speech so that you have a clear understanding of how these parts of speech form the basis for all the sentences we basically create in the English language. In English grammar, there are 7 basic sentence forms that we are going to be focusing on. You needed to understand the parts of speech to now apply them to the sentence forms. Regardless of whether you learned sentence classifying in your elementary school or not, you are all required to learn the method and format I am presenting in the video. So first of all, we start off with a Form A sentence, which is basically just a subject and a verb. An example of this sentence form, I use the Food Network because I really like the Food Network a lot. Duff bakes. There you have a simple subject and a simple verb. For the Form B sentence, here we have a subject plus a verb that's transitive plus a direct object. Duff bakes cakes. Form C sentences, you have a subject plus a verb that's transitive, an indirect object, and a direct object. An example is, a bride gave Duff $15,000 for his cake. In the Form D sentence, you may or may not have been exposed to this type of sentence before. You have a subject, a verb that's transitive, a direct object, and an object complement that is a noun. For example, Food Network declared Duff an extreme baker. The Form E sentence is similar to the Form D, where you have a subject plus a verb that's transitive, a direct object, and an object complement, but in this case the object complement is an adjective. Everyone considers his cakes delicious. The Form F sentence, you switch from an action verb to a linking verb. So you have a subject plus a linking verb and a subject complement that can be either a noun or a pronoun. For example, Duff is the ace of the cake business. In the Form G sentence, you also have a linking verb, but here your subject complement is an adjective. An example sentence would be, his cakes are extreme. So I've provided for you an abbreviation key to correlate to the previous slide. Please feel free to stop this particular the video at this particular point and copy these down and then have me explain them, or copy them as I'm explaining them. It's entirely up to you. But the abbreviation for the previous slides, the S stands for subject. A subject is always a noun or a pronoun, even if the subject of the sentence is the understood you, as in a sentence that gives a command, like go to the bakery. There, the subject is the understood pronoun you. The V here stands for verb, and whether that verb is transitive or linking, note in the previous slide if I had a lowercase t after the verb, that stood for a transitive verb. But if I had the linking, I put a capital L in front of the verb. A DO stands for direct object. A direct object in a sentence is always a noun or a pronoun. The direct object is the receiver of the action of the verb, and it will never, ever rename the subject of the sentence. IO stands for indirect object. It's always a noun or a pronoun. It is the receiver of the direct object. The OC, or object or objective complement, you may hear it called objective complement, is either a noun or an adjective, is a noun or an adjective that follows the direct object and refers back to the direct object, either renaming it or describing it. The SC stands for subject or subjective complement. Here it's a noun, an adjective, or a pronoun, but it can also be called a predicate noun, predicate adjective, or predicate pronoun. So you may have heard it either way or just one of those ways in your previous educational career. And your subject complement always renames the subject. So when you have those linking verbs that can either be an action or a linking verb, the trick there is to determine whether or not the word that comes after that linking verb, is it renaming the subject or describing the subject? Because if it is, then that either or verb is a linking verb. But as I gave directions in the explanation of direct object, if it's an action verb, then that word is never going to rename the subject. So we'll look at some examples of those in the future. Here I have set up your slides. From this point on, I will not be talking. You should set up a slide for each of the sentence forms and try to create your own sentences based on the criteria I've given. I urge you to stop the video, make your slide, start the video again. I think that would be the best way for you to set up your slides. Your sentences that I'm asking you to create, they don't have to be long sentences. I'm not asking for a 5 or 10 word minimum on your sentence forms. Sometimes it's best to try shorter sentences until you get the hang of it. Then you can add material to those sentences. It's very important that you attempt to make these sentences so that I can see how you are doing with the concepts. If you're struggling, then I need to know that, and the only way I can see that is through your sentences. So I'm going to put those sentences, the slides up for the remaining sentences. Remember, stop along the way and create your slides. Have a great night.